Greetings and welcome to week 14. Clearly there are a lot of things to talk about outside of our curriculum content this week. But before we get to the death of Osama bin Laden and the possible ramifications, I'd like to just give you a quick overview of what we're going to be doing from a content perspective. And what we're going to do is we're going to continue our work with the Millennium Development Goals. This week we're going to work on goals 5 and 6. Millennium Development Goal number 5 is to improve maternal health for women. Strikingly, every minute, according to the United Nations, a woman dies in childbirth or immediately after childbirth. And so when they were putting together their 8 goals as to what they needed to focus on to improve our world and to make the lives, especially of those poor, better, they focused on maternal health. So, a classmate of mine from the Fletcher School, Mandeep, who you have seen 2 times before, she works with the UN Population Fund, and so she works directly with caring for mothers and caring for women in childbirth. So, you are going to hear from her. Goal number 6 is to combat HIV, AIDS, and malaria, and other diseases. And to introduce that topic, another classmate of mine named Chris Fontaine, who works with HIV AIDS, with the UN HIV AIDS in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, is going to introduce that topic to you. And Chris leads you through a fairly intense 12-minute video with charts that really, he does an excellent job of highlighting the struggle and illustrating the work that he's doing and his organization is doing to improve the situation. So, Millennium Development Goal number 5, maternal health. Number 6 is HIV, AIDS, and malaria, and the fight against those diseases. The situation brief this week is really perfect for the week and for the events with Osama bin Laden because it talks about failed states. And 2 failed states in particular that highlight the problem that comes along when a state fails or when a state functions at a very low level. And those 2 countries are Yemen, which we have spoken about before, and Somalia. Now, Osama bin Laden was killed this week, but his story is long. And one of the major episodes in his life, he was removed from Saudi Arabia, which was his homeland. His citizenship was revoked. His family disowned him. And he found safe haven in a country. And what country was that? It was Sudan. So until 1996, bin Laden operated out of Sudan. Then in 1996, under pressure from a number of countries, including the United States, he was forced out of Sudan. At that time, the Taliban was just consolidating their power in Afghanistan, and they invited him to go to Afghanistan. The point is that Osama bin Laden planned his attacks and lived his life where? Sudan, Afghanistan, failed states. So failed states are dangerous for a number of reasons, but in the context of this course, the main reason why they are dangerous from a security standpoint is because they are safe havens oftentimes for criminals and for international terrorists like Osama bin Laden. So, as we look at Yemen and we look at Somalia, what threats do they pose in the future? And we spoke a couple weeks ago about Anwar al-Awlaki, and where is he? He is in Yemen, a failed state. You read almost weekly about pirates in the Indian Ocean, in the Arabian Sea, taking hostages, killing hostages, holding ships of different sizes for ransom. Where are they coming from? Somalia. A final point about Yemen and Somalia, the 2 countries are separated by a very thin strait. And that strait, as you would imagine, comes, to get through from the Red Sea into the Indian Ocean and out into the Arabian Sea, you need to pass through that strait. And as you would imagine, with Saudi Arabia being right there, a lot of oil comes through that point. So it's a choke point, very similar to the choke point between Iran and the Arabian Peninsula. So you have 2 choke points there that are very important to world oil reserves and that are crucial points and of major concerns to countries the world over, because through those two straits the oil of the flow of oil has to continue. So on to Mr. Bin Laden. Mr. Bin Laden, as far as many experts were concerned, had become nothing more really than a symbolic figure in Al-Qaeda. He had been so neutralized and marginalized by the intense pressure that was put on him that he really wasn't, according to most, functioning day to day as the head of Al-Qaeda. But he was important symbolically. What struck me in what in the day that since his death, what struck me and what is striking many others is the fact that he was found in a compound, heavily guarded, in an urban area, a populated area in Pakistan, which was 100 meters or so away from the military academy, the West Point of Pakistan. How in the world could members of the Pakistani government or the intelligence services, how could they not know he was there? So that brings into question Pakistan's commitment to helping the United States in its effort to kick out and to capture or kill members of Al-Qaeda. And then that brings the whole relationship between the two countries into question. And I think about that because Pakistan, we know, plays a major role in events in Afghanistan, and it borders nuclear India, which last week we talked about India, its rise, and the tensions with Pakistan. So you have a very important country strategically that has been an ally of the United States, and now, even more than in the past, people are questioning how in the world could the Pakistanis be supportive of the efforts of the United States and an ally and have Osama bin Laden right there. They had to know. Now, whether they did or not, that's a different question, and I just read a piece that says they claim to have had no idea. It's hard to believe, but pay attention to how things play out between the United States and Pakistan as we move forward. Also, something else that I look for that I haven't found yet is the response of al-Awlaki to the death of bin Laden. Third, Ayman al-Zawahiri is the number 2 in Al-Qaeda, and where is he? And are there efforts to get him to capture or to kill him? So, there is a tremendous amount going on this week, and you will, I'm sure, continue to follow the headlines, as will I. I will see you online. We only have 2 more weeks after this one, so enjoy it, finish strong, and I will look forward to seeing you online. Have a good week.